I was like feeling so proud of becoming a doctor and all that. But was it my passion?
We see thousands of students graduating every year, and they are very happy. But then after some time, you find it's very hard for them to find jobs, or even if they find jobs, they have to do training again.
We need to have creative minds as the youth. We shouldn't depend so much on the government. Yes, the government has a crucial role to play in this.
For future job, should not depend on one career. There should be a strongly encouragement of just trying to be multitasker.
I remember me at that time, whenever the teacher came in the class, I thought, I'm dying now. I'm going to die. What am I going to say? And sometimes I would even hide under the table.
Let me first introduce myself. I'm Ichirezi Sonia. I am doing a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurial leadership at African Leadership University, and I'm also working with a tech startup, actually our own, that helps people bring to table or to life tech solutions, and the CFO. Yeah. So that's a brief introduction, and I'm also passionate about health. Yeah. So about today's topic, education for the future. What kind of education is needed to equip young people with skills for jobs of the future? Well, I don't really think that I have the biggest, or like I know too much about education, but I can give a small view about education. I really like a little bit of the way my school is doing it. Every year there is we are given an opportunity at the end of every year. We are given an opportunity to do an internship, which helps us to be able to be exposed to the way how the outside world works after school. How does it work? How is it supposed to go? And sometimes what we learn in school is actually different from what we see on the very field, like in actual sense when you are at work. Yes, maybe in theory you could feel like it's flowing well, you're understanding how things are going, but the moment you get into like the real work, oh my god, you're messed up. You start wondering, have I been to school? And sometimes you find someone has been in school for 3-4 years, but then when they reach at work, they start regretting why they have been in school for all those years, because what they're studying and what they're doing is different. So it's a good way how African Leadership University is doing it, giving students an opportunity to be able to tap into this part before they are there. Also, if there was a way how it could be done, how it could be established in all these other colleges. Yeah, I know these other colleges are doing it, but then it would be good if they did it at a larger, like in many, I mean, if they gave them many opportunities like they're doing it with us, because these other schools, they do it at the end of the 3 years. And I don't think that's enough time for one to do it. So the reason as to why I'm saying this is because this has kind of opened up our eyes, and it has also boosted, I can say, maybe our confidence, and it has made us to have these creative minds. When you go there as early as possible, like you get a broader picture as early as possible, so you're able to get what you get in class and what you're getting on the field. You put it together, then you come up with something so big to, you know, where you're able to make impact in your community. Yeah.
Thank you so much. My name is Ashira Songa. I'm the founder of Technica. Technica is a software development company, but we also have part of education where we provide digital skills training. And I also have another company called the Ijwi Language Collective that teaches people in Rwanda, especially foreigners and the people in diaspora who have forgotten Rwanda. So I love education, and I'm happy that we're talking about education for the future, because it's a very, very important thing to talk about now, especially now that everything is changing. What you see on the market now is that so many people are graduating from from the school. We see thousands of students graduating every year, and they are very happy. But then after some time, you find it's very hard for them to find jobs, or even if they find jobs, they have to do training again, because what they are going to do at the job does not match what they studied. Even the TVET schools have started implementing the internships, as you said, because I remember since high school I've been doing internships. I've done like 5, every year I do internship, like for 1 or 2 months. But still, the gap is still there, because so many people, because many students are requiring internship, they have made it a business. And you go there, they give you internship, you pay, but it's still like you are in the class. So I think that kind of thing have ruined the intention of internships. So when we talk about education of the future, I think we have to look back at what education did we have, what do we have now, and then what will the future need to proceed, and what will people be doing in the future. And I think at the job, the thing that we are doing there all the time is solving a problem. So if you are doing any job, you are solving a problem or fulfilling a need of someone. So in the past, people used to go to the job, they learn things, they look at the marks because they have memorized things, and then can bring that out on the paper, and they say this person is the best of the best. But that does not show that you are capable now, because what you need is to implement what you've learned, to use it to solve a problem and need, and fulfill a need of someone. I think that's where so many students are being left behind, because they have been trained in a system where they are being required to memorize things, and they do not get that experience of how they can use creativity and critical thinking to implement what they have learned in solving problems. So I think that's what the future needs. Students to learn how can they use what they learned to solve problems, and how can they learn how to learn by themselves without going to school, without needing the school all the time. So if the students can learn, how to think critically, how to be creative, and then how to solve problems, I'm sure the future is going to have people who can solve problems, because the only thing that will always be there is problems. And we always need people to solve those problems. Even when you have robots, even when you have AI, there are problems that AI can solve. So if a student is able to learn, they will learn which problem can AI not solve, and then they will learn how they can then solve those problems. Because so many students, when they get out of schools, they wait for someone to call them and give them a job. That used to be the case a long time ago when, let's say, I'm a software engineer by profession. So in like before 2020, if you came out of school as a software engineer and you were good, you were glad to get a job, because there were very few software engineers. But now, everywhere you go, anywhere, like you will meet hundreds of software engineers everywhere, and you have to compete with them. So I think now we don't have to wait for someone to call us and give us a job, or always apply. So think, how can I solve problems, and then get a job where I will be solving problems. I think that's where the future needs to be looking.
My name is JD Odinga. I'm from Kenya. I'm a presenter, stroke journalist, And I think to add on what you guys said, our education system in Kenya, we have two systems at the moment. We had 844, one that is called 844 and one that is called CBC. But the one that is called CBC is now for the Gen Alpha. You know, some of us are Gen Z, some of us are millennials. So the system I did, 844, did not really give me anything more than books, just reading, and sitting for exams. And I think even before someone goes to university, I think that even secondary education, primary education is very important for someone to at least be able to have some certain skills. Because even you're going to high school, when you enter university, you're asked, so what do you want to do in university? You're like, okay, I've been reading biology and I think I like it, so I want to be a doctor or a nurse. So it's not that you have the skills, but it's because of something you were reading and you felt like, I relate to this, so I want to do this course in university. So I think the new system actually that is called CBC, from someone who is 11 years, you are taught a skill, different kind of skills, so that by the time you get to secondary school, you're able to know what you want to do or what you want to be when you grow up. So even when I went to university, I did journalism because I loved English and was like, okay, fine, let's try this. So I did it for 4 years of my life, but I can say the 3.5 years I did, it was all about books. It was not about, teaching me how to stand in front of a camera, how to read something like the teleprompter, or how to hold a camera, or I was not taught that. I got those skills when I went for my first internship. When you have to do internship so that you graduate, I learned all those things while I was doing my internship. So I asked myself, okay, fine, we go to university, we want to become, engineers, doctors, but what is the school teaching us? From year one, I think that people should be taught, if you want to be a nurse, how to, nurse a small wound. No, okay, theory is allowed. Yes, I agree. It's very important for theory and all those things, but skills is more important, because in a job you'll be thrown and you won't need the theory part. Most of it doesn't require the theory part. Most of it requires the practical part, where you have to, for example, go to the field. You have to be in that operating room. You have to bring that business idea. But what you did in theory does not entirely give you an idea what practical it will be, because you'll be remembering, okay, I read something on how to handle a camera, for example, and then I don't know where the start button is. I don't know where the changing of the settings is. So this thing of theory throughout, and then the last year is when you're taken to internship and they throw you in the deep water and they're like, okay, fine, go and sort yourself. I think the school should really look at that and try and improve that part of not too much theory, but more of practical. They need to try and balance, because in the job, it's so hard in the job. There's so many people I know, what they did in university is not something they're doing now, because first of all, something that they learned after university, a skill like cooking, like graphic design, is what has helped them get a job right now. So the skill part is very important for jobs in the future, because nowadays I think most employees look for the skill you have and not the knowledge or the theory part you have. You're going to present something in a boardroom. They want facts. They want to see what you can bring to the table, and not something that you read in a book or you were taught in school just because of being taught. Yeah.
I'm by names of Iradukunda Slivia Quista. I'm the CEO of Freedom Cleaning Services Kigali, that it has been running for now 6 years. Yeah, we are talking about what they can put in the education for the young people to be able to get jobs outside here. I have seen a lot of mistakes that we have been making long time ago when we are still young. For example, what I'm doing right now outside, that's not what I really studied in the high school. When we were in primary school, they used to ask us, what do you want to be? For example, they ask me, what do you want to be, Slivia? And I say, I want to be a doctor. But was it really the thing that I really wanted to study in the high school? That wasn't the thing that I really wanted to study in the high school. I went in MCB, that's mathematics, chemistry, and biology, because I was like feeling so proud of becoming a doctor and all that. But was it my passion? So that was like the question that we should even ask our teachers or our parents before we even join the high school. We have to ask ourselves, what's our passion? What do we want to be in the future? Do we really feeling it inside us? And I really need us, like the parents, to start checking on the talents of their children when they're still young. For example, by the years of 11, you can be able to understand what exactly your child like. When they start like maybe praying at home, they can love music, they can love taking pictures. You can focus on where their passion is. And that's the field that you can really focus on so much when they're going to school, and they keep doing that in the high school. If they are good at taking pictures, they will be like taking social media skills in the high school, because that's where their passion is. But you find a lot of schools making a lot of mistakes, and parents making a lot of mistakes, because they want their children to be doctors, they want their children to be leaders, they want their children to be musicians, photographers. But when the child is not feeling it, when the child is not having that passion. So there are a lot of mistakes outside here of that. Students going to the high school, but when they have not made the decision inside them, and when they don't have that passion, you know. Another point that I really want to talk about is the communication skills. We really, like, I have seen a lot of problems outside here. Students get like done with their high school, they complete their university, they graduate, they get really good marks. But when it comes to the interviews outside here, when they don't know how to explain themselves, when they don't know even how to speak in front of people, when they don't even know like where to begin from, and yet that's the field that they have been studying in. So if you want to be a doctor and you can't even talk to the patients, so we really need to focus on communication skills too, and also the way we can talk in front of people, because it's really hard. And I have even seen that many people are really struggling with emotional problems. It's good, like when students go to school, teachers could approach the students and talk to them and know about their lives. They understand what they're passing through, because you find students getting out, but when they have a lot of problems in the family, when they can't even proceed with their journey of studies in the high school just because of the problems they have left all the way back home. So it's really important to get people like in the schools that can approach students and talk about like their normal lives outside here, because it has been really affecting a lot of people. When they get outside the school, you find them really crying where they can't even get any step where they can begin from and go uh, on in the in the university. Sorry. Um, Another thing that I really want to talk about is I need to tell the young generation that is they're going out of the high school. It's really hard to get jobs outside here, but being creative and persuasive, make your own jobs, make your own businesses. It's really a good thing to do. Um, like you find so many students from high school who has completed the high school getting scared of starting their own businesses, and they think like maybe people who are rich or people who are from the university or who have completed the university are the ones to start the big businesses. You can start the business even though you have few coins. You just have to grab them and you make them big through creating your own business. You can sell biscuits, you can sell mandazi, anything. You just have to be proud of starting your own business. You know, starting a business, it doesn't mean that you have to be having 25M or 10 million or something. Even 100K or 10K can start a business outside here. We just have to be confident of what we are going to be doing and being creative, and also to be like to keep back all that being afraid, scared of starting or taking a step and take a risk. Many people get scared of taking risks outside here. You find them, hey, you have got a social media skills, but because you fear people to see you in front of the camera, and you have those skills, but because of the fear you have inside you, we have to overcome all that fear that we have got inside us. If I tell you, I started this my business without any equipments, but because I was confident and I was able to take a risk, I started it without nothing, but here I am. I have 11 employees now, which is really a great thing. So I should advise, or I'm advising the young generation that is getting outside here to really focus on their passion and not to get scared of being creative, and also to start their own businesses. They can become their own bosses. We are focusing on when we study and complete high school and the university, we go out to look for jobs. But you can also create your own jobs. You create your own businesses. You start becoming a CEO at a young age. I started becoming a CEO at 21 years. Which wasn't really possible if I had that bad mind of thinking that I can't do it. So if you get out and you keep moving, set your goals, you know where you're standing, don't waste your time. The world is really running so fast. When you go with it, I know you will really achieve a lot. Another point that I really want to discuss about is about the social media. I really need the education, especially in Africa, to add in the subject of teaching the students about the social media, because I have seen so many problems outside here. Like young generation are really focusing on social media, but social media contains a lot of bad things, good things. So they really need to start teaching students about the social media. They learn what exactly social media do, the side effect and the bad effect, because many young generation, you find them really stopped, like with their, they can't proceed with their goals because of the social media. Maybe they have seen the young youth smoking or taking drugs or anything on the social media, and you find them imitating those people, but when they don't know what exactly they are doing. So, which is really affecting them when they get outside here. You find them smoking, you find them drinking, drunkards. Maybe they were going to be the presidents of tomorrow, they were going to be the leaders of tomorrow. But because of their life has been limited by the social media, You know, that's actually something that is really stopping a lot of young generations. They need to start teaching people about social media and add it on the subjects they are like giving out in high schools and universities to help them outside. Yeah, as we are studying entrepreneurship, I know entrepreneurship has been added there as a subject to help people to get outside and get jobs and start their own businesses. Yeah, good. But do we have something that is actually teaching students about the social media? Because social media has took a lot of a big part outside here, where a young, an old person, anyone that watches that. But are we really studying it? Are we really having skills about it? So we really need to focus on that. Yeah, that's all what I can talk about. Talents have to be focused, especially starting from the age of 11. That's when the child can be really able to understand what exactly they need. And also the social media skills have to be added in there. And communication skills have to be focused on too. So thank you. That was my point.
Thanks so much. I am Christian Chuzirungu from RP Kigali College. I'm doing highway technology. This topic talks about education for future. First of all, I would like to see our teachers who used to teach the lesson of business creation, entrepreneurship, are the best one who performing well out in the society. Just why I'm asking myself why those who teaches the business creation and entrepreneurship are not one of the best performers about having to be a billionaire or the richest in the society. Yes, that is something which I can ask myself, or even anyone cannot understand. But they give us some tips how you can gain, how you can get money, but they still be struggling like that. This education, first of all, around world, the kind of education that should be needed to keep young people to get be able to participate in job out of the on the market still depend on how their region are developing. Even though people may know about a lot of important about education, but the area they where are located. I'm saying this because we know that in other countries out of Africa, even as our colleague says, parents used to every day follow how their children are acting for studying them to know even if my child is attending at a school, but I'm finding that have other capabilities. That helps them to know where after school help them to be in. If, for example, found her boy or her girl or his boy is interested in football or singing, playing with a music instrument, knows exactly what to be included. But here, I found that according to society, when someone performs well, example, becoming a doctor, another one also looks, hey, mine too must be a doctor. Or other says, mine too must become a pilot. That's why you will find a little child expecting to be pilot, expecting to be a doctor, expecting even in the community, our parents still understand that to be a doctor, that is the highest, to be some things like that. And you will find many of us among the students, they developing in the dreams of their parents, not of them. You will find also when, for example, myself, myself, I've been developed in a rural area, but I was interested in acrobatic and football. But when I was in my training, just my mom used to say, no, you are just not doing what you must do. Your role is to study. Go and study. Even uh, there was someone who found me that I'm very talented and asked my mother, can you give me this child and I will show you how this will be very incoming, will bring some incomes. Then mom say, no, 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 no. My child must study like others, developing, yes. So I'm asking myself, what if uh, that friend of her taking me and just developing what he saw to me. And nowadays, I'm saying that I would like to be like those who are playing the gymnastic games, who are on the high level. And even I think would be one which would pay my other schools. Yeah. But it is all over the problem. I said this is cannot be in that way. We want the kind of education should be needed. Once the community, all of us, most of us, having that problem of not just understanding the behavior of their child. Yeah. And this, uh, according to the system, also, we are facing with a problem of just having the system which teaches a lot of students, but you will find them are studying like forced to memorize a lot of theories, and you will find the system gives us little hours of practice and a lot of hours of just theories. Even now in the technical, as you found that our country found that problem. People must not be in a just does history, economy, geography, PCB only. Also, hand-on skills should be improved. That's why they used to create that TVET programs to provide some hand-on skills and practicals. But still now, you will find many of us are struggling for learning more theory than the practice. You will find uh, many of ours use them in the class, but when they are up to end the class, they are given about 3, not more than 3, or a month of practicing all of yes, yes, theories. You are going to practice in 1 month or 3. Imagine. That's very bad. Yes. So the kind of education needed is not that which equip student with higher theory more than practice. As we found this modern world just need people who show what is able to do. That's why the memorization of many theories will be not be valued as what you showed us to do with your hand-on skills. And why I can encourage men, even parents, to follow how their child are developing. By starting, I said these also depend on the areas, how the developing areas, how is developing. So this our country still have many rural areas. The parents are struggling for even finding say, food to give their children. Even they don't get enough time to follow how their children are participating. Just to see she's or he's go attending to school It's enough. Not to say he's a good at football, good at singing. Then what else? Am I going to take him in a studio or in another school? Even the ability of the families should be facing. Uh, Also the understanding of the parents. Yes. Truly, many of the examples today shows that a lot of people are being participating on the market due to the hands-on skills they know. And there's some informations I heard that the country is expecting that in the coming years, they are trying to make sure that people, most of us, will be able to work themselves through their talent, should be able to earn some money, get income from their talent. If you are good at music, eh, they are going to programming it in the way you will be able to earn money from that your talent. If you are good at football, athleticism, anything that which are aside of this system nowadays we are in. So the kind of education so needed truly is one which provide basic and also try to follow how you are developing your much interest, where is it, and try to help you to be engaged in that and give you some basic. If I'm good at football, give me some basic like language skills, communication skills, and train me enough as I like it. If I'm good at singing, train me enough and giving me some basic education about that, knowing languages like that. Thank you.
You gave very very good points, and when you're talking about the teachers and the way parents think, okay, this person, we are neighbors and their children is a doctor, and our children must also become a doctor. I remember when I was in O level and I was going to choose the section to follow in advanced level. I was a very good student. I used to get good marks in physics, chemistry, and all others. And then I applied to join WDA, which was a technical, but now RTB. And my teachers were not happy, and some wanted even to change my documents to move me into science because they were not happy that I applied to go into technical, because they thought if you know physics and chemistry, then you should be studying science. And I think that's what many people thought, that people should go this way that was programmed before, and they don't get to they don't understand that someone can have choices. So I think education that will help people is education that will allow them to choose, as said, using their interest. What are you interested in? And then which part of education can help you achieve your interest. And again, on the theory, I think theory is not too bad. We know people who are mechanics, and mechanics sometimes learn on the job. You know people who have learned on the job, they never went to school, and they are now doing mechanics and they get good money. But the problem is, if you are in school and you are learning theories of mechanics, how are you different from them? And why are you learning that theory? Maybe you will understand what they are doing, but they don't understand why it works. But you are learning so that you understand how it works, and maybe you invent a new generator. Maybe I think one thing that I think many people never think about is, why am I learning this, and how can it work? So I think if people understand that the theory you are learning can help even understand how things work on a deeper level and help you maybe invent new things, because now we know there is AI now. Okay, I'll give an example here because I'm a software engineer. So we see everyone developing an AI app but they're all using the technology that was developed by someone who is highly skilled in mathematics. So I think we need to understand that the theory is not so bad after all, but why are you learning it? Are you indulging it into it because it's just a theory we're given, or is it because there is a reason? Also, people who develop curriculums, they think, okay, today blockchain is on the top, let's put it in the curriculum. AI is on the top, let's put it in the curriculum. We have maybe a new technology that is coming, let's put it in the curriculum. They just put anything and they don't understand maybe what do we want the student to even get out of it. And second, they don't have experts or people who understand it to come and teach it. They just take a teacher, they give him maybe a training of 1 year, or maybe also the theory. They have never done that in the real life, and they come and tell them teach it. And you find that even some teachers are teaching students who are better than them in that subject. So I think the thing that can change in that way is they added a way for students to learn on the job, which is not being done well. But I think if they can find people who have done that thing, who have been on the job market, they have used that kind of thing, and they come and be the one to teach it. Like he gave an example of entrepreneurship. Like most of the entrepreneurship we teach, I think it's not entrepreneurship, it's accountant. How do they call it? Accountant. Like, accountability. I mean, it's the counting money. How do they call them? The accountants. Accounting, yeah. I think it's the accounting. And because the real entrepreneurship should be how to find business ideas and then implement them and then see the results. I think that's what entrepreneurship should be teaching. But it's not what they learn. They learn how to make ledgers and all that, which maybe as a business person you will get to them, but not in the beginning. You have to find a business idea that works and then start from zero. So I think finding teachers who are expert or have done something on the job market can help a lot. And second, giving people choices and allowing them to follow the path. And then when they learn something, they should understand why and what can I do with this, not just following it blindly.
Rwanda, it's really doing a great job seeing where we've come from and where now we are. They're really doing great, because if you to see the education system that was there 30 years ago and now the one that is there right now, there is some great improvement. And over time, you see we are kind of, though we may not mention it, but we are kind of getting examples from these other developed countries. These countries have been in existence for over 100 years. And some of our countries here in Africa, I mean, we are less than 50 years old. So, on another hand, we need to understand that these are systems that we're talking about. And when it comes to a system, it also has its way how it goes. So, on another hand, we can try to understand them. But then, because I like how our government has tried to bring in the TVET thing. And yeah, this is something that they're also learning. It's an idea that they came up with. And, when you have an idea and you bring it to life, sometimes you don't know how it's going to turn out. So if maybe how they're doing it could not be turning out well, probably they're trying to do something like you mentioned internships, right? So I guess maybe as time goes on, they will do better. And again, on another hand, I'm back now side. So on the communication thing, I want to add on what my colleague mentioned. In this already system that is in existence, when how classes are usually run, a teacher comes in and is like, today we're going to talk about this, and these are the notes, or you go find out about this, or here are the notes, copy them down. Different teachers, but most of the times one will come and say, here are the notes, another one will be like, he will come and give you a small overview about a certain topic, and then the rest go find out on your own. Yeah, on one hand that's good, but then you've not given a student a chance to stand in front of the fellow students to try and express themselves. How are they going to get the self-confidence when they reach out there in interviews? That's why you find they start stuttering. They don't trust themselves because they're worried. I'm going to mess it up. How is it going to go? I mean, we are all humans. These all things sometimes. I mean, they're new, so you don't know how things will turn out. That's why we are always nervous when you're maybe in an interview or you're in front of people. But then, if you have this chance of maybe speaking in front of your fellow students, in presentations or maybe in discussions, in engaging students, that thing okay, the way how classes are run, let them not be about the teacher only. Let them be about the facilitator, the teacher, and the student. Yes, the teachers should give chance to students to as well also give their views. Because sometimes the teacher asks a question, and the 5 students, the common ones throughout the whole year, they're the ones who will always respond. But I think also, I know it's tough, you know sometimes to deal with students, with the youth. We are sometimes big headed, but that's the edge. So it would be good if they kind of force us out of that comfort zone. Or if he asks a question, they should try to pick out that person who's just seated there. Most of them usually know the answer, but they cannot put their hands up and maybe say, this is the answer. So it would be good if they tried to give all students an opportunity to speak in class. That's why it starts from class. Because if you actually see, we spend much of our time at school, more than what we spend outside or maybe at home, where you say you're going to maybe try to do it on your own to teach it yourself. So I think also debates, they are good, but they are usually done in schools. But I think there should be another better way of doing it, so that a student, by the time that to move out of like school and they're exposed to the outside world, you know, they are better. Honestly speaking, if you to look at me, I also used to have this thing of maybe being nervous. I'm in front of people, but then the schools that I've been to, no jokes. You are forced to speak, whether you know the answer, whether you do not say it out. Stand up, let them hear it. And sometimes we have these tough teachers. They'll be like, yes, you stand up, you say your answer, but then someone in the corner, he will ask, did you hear her? No. Okay, repeat until he will hear your voice. So through that, that's how you're able to, to get out of that of that box that you're usually in. You're afraid of how people are going to judge you. Anyway, whether you do it, whether you don't, it will still be hard. People will still judge you. So it's always good to just do it. And then another thing, I want to add on what he said about um let me see, I wrote it, of creating our own. So I want to add on that, whether you sit and you don't create anything, you don't be creative, life will be hard. And even when you try, yes, you're afraid, if I start, I'm going to fail. This is the only money I have, so if I invest it, I will lose it. Yes, it happens, but at least you've tried. His Excellence Paul Kagame, our president, is always advising us to never fail to try. Always try. You at least fail when you've tried. So whether you try, it's hard. Whether you don't try, it's hard. So it's better. It can be hard, but when you've tried, because you never know. You never know what's out there. You never know, you could try and you could be the next Elon Musk. I don't think that Elon Musk knew that he would be where he is right now. So it's always good to just start. Yeah.
Just I bring the question. Yes, you never know, you can be Elon Musk, but I don't know the background of his education. But simply looking on us, especially in a country, they did a lot of best until now, as we see. And nowadays also, it's about 32 million just are going to be used for just, again, keeping teachers on top and giving the all enough to help students to learn well. And also, other story, the teachers are going to again doing the exam of English, and once you fail it, then you be left in your job. But when you pass the English exam, you continue to teaching. So I ask myself, where did them study also to not know that English, and are going to be after repeating? That is the kind of repeating. So you find there that will be the question also, if the teachers are not capable to the level required, even you will think about what they give to students. And once they will be helped to be on in good level, also country believes that those students will be also being on the enough stage just of being able to participate on the market. And what if this education, just for better improving the young generations, what if government brings some people to local areas, except teachers, other people who are interested and also being trained about uh, observing developing children's their capabilities aside of the studies? What if done? Guess should be there the improvement, or should also playing a vital role of just knowing a kind of young generation are developing, where are them developed in? Because also the government in the Ministry of Education, they planned also the at school the time of uh, every children showing their capabilities, but we're not sure that is done as it planned. Yeah. So I wonder if there should be people who are well trained to observe every at the schools or even in the societies, to see how those children are developing, what are interested in aside of school, what are being capable of doing.
You're asking a question, or you're asking.
It's about also to be added in this
Okay.
topic. If we are talking about the kind of education needed, yeah, it should be in the suggestion. Yeah.
We as the youth, we can do something about that. I believe if you went to the Ministry of Education and you were like me and my colleagues, you put ourselves together and we want to do an inspection, like you come up with that idea, you say, want to do an inspection, and we see if the teachers are really doing what they're supposed to be doing, and if the students are getting what they're supposed to be getting, you bring up that idea to them and you show them how it's going to work. I believe it, it can be something great. You see these positions like she was mentioning, of doctors, pilots. These are hyped positions. This is what used to happen in the past years, where we knew being a doctor was the best thing. Being a pilot, oh my god, you're the topic of the village. But now, even a musician can survive, can put food on the table, as most of us, that's what we're always worried about. Even someone in tech can do something and you can earn money. So I believe Just as she was saying, we need to have creative minds as the youth. We shouldn't depend so much on the government. Yes, the government has a crucial a role to play in this because we are developing and we don't know a lot. We need support, but then we as well need to take a step also fast. Well, I'm not saying this because I've already taken like how many, but then I believe that we also need to come out of that comfort zone. Sometimes we want to put the blame on other people and we forget that we also have a part to play in this. So I believe if we try our best, some people would say, yes, I've tried, but I've failed. You see, I have a degree, but I've been sitting with it for maybe 3 years. I've applied, but then, are you sure you've tried everything? Probably there is an idea that maybe God put in your mind, and you are like, no, it won't work because this so and so tried it and it did not work. But you never know. Your chances are not their chances. So, yeah, exactly. Your ways are not their ways.
Many people have got talents in high schools, in primary schools. Students have got talents. Football players, singers, people who can do a lot of things, they have got a lot of talents, but they don't have people to support them.
Rural areas will just be there, that they don't need much of help, but in fact I do believe that they need most help when it comes to this skills in education for the future.
I like to tell people, everyone who was able to do a national examination and come into university know English, because all exams are in English. But because they don't use it, they don't have confidence.
How can you say someone is ignorant but educated? Oh, yeah, sometimes it's possible. Wait a minute.
Sure.
Because sometimes you could be educated but not learned.
What if your child's first step into school was their very first step into the future? At Akon's International School, every classroom is a launchpad. Every child uniquely known. Every lesson a spark of discovery. Our world-class facilities, including the guided reading program, don't just build skills, they build confidence. From sports to science, from music to languages, your child is never boxed in. Clean spaces, happy faces, global minds rooted in care. Because at Akon's International School, wellness, discipline, and joy go hand in hand. We offer Cambridge International program from early years to A levels. Choosing a school isn't just an academic decision. It's a decision about trust, care, and possibility. Imagine more for your child. Choose us today. Because at Akon's International School, we inspire and empower. Welcome to Akon's International School, Kigali.
Yeah, I will also add on the point of debates in high schools and primary schools. My question is, we have government schools, we have private schools in Rwanda, but are they really focusing on debates in schools? Are they really? That's a question. Maybe our leader will answer that question. But are they really focusing on that? Because I remember a long time ago we had public schools, we had private schools, where I really thank my parents. They actually did a great job. They made me go to Anglophone schools, which wasn't really easy for every parent to take their children in Anglophone schools. They were really very expensive by, for example, by 2003, 2004, around there. It wasn't really easy. But by then, I remember they even changed us from studying a lot of French, and they turned it to Anglophone English. So we had to study English a lot more than French. But since then, do we really have debates that are adding on the skills of students of how to speak English? For example, for now, I try. I'm not the best, but I really try a little bit from where, at least the chance I got from my parents. But I have found really a lot of youth outside here struggling of speaking either French, and that's the language that we actually started with, and struggling speaking English. But I have seen that really debates are really helping us in high schools and primary schools to get where we are right now. If I wasn't really speaking a little bit of English, I wasn't going to be able to speak to you guys. You find people, they have completed high school, universities, but they don't know how to explain their selves in English or French. And we have seen that these are two languages that are really helping people outside here going abroad, in different countries apart from our local country. You know, we speak Kinyarwanda, yes, okay, Kinyarwanda is good, but do we really have any other language that we have added in our lives to help us? Like, for example, if you get a chance to go abroad, are you going to be able to communicate to other people? So I would suggest, before you answer me that question, I would suggest our government to really look about debates in schools, more especially the high school and primary school, because that's where the students are really comfortable and they can't even focus on any goals or something. So it's really good to be like debates of English club or French club or any other language that can really help them outside here to be compulsory for them to join. Because you find different clubs in high schools and primary schools, really much we don't even have a lot of clubs in primary schools because we are growing up in studying in primary school, but I have never seen like a club concerning to debates and AIDS club, all that. And that's actually the information that we have to grab when we are actually still young to understand better where we are heading to and where the world is taking us. Yeah. So I would suggest they put debates to be compulsory in schools or to add in a subject that teaches about debates. Like, I mean, they talk about things in front of people, in front of students, because that's actually overcoming the scary or that thing of getting afraid of speaking in front of people, because it will actually help them to be confident and making a speech. Yeah, we are not actually the best right now, but we can at least explain a little bit of what we have got in our minds. So another thing that I want to talk about is the rural areas. Many people have got talents in high schools, in primary schools. Students have got talents. Football players, singers, people who can do a lot of things, they have got a lot of talents, but they don't have people to support them. I mean, our government is really trying their best. They have given them computers, different kinds of things, power is there, everything. But we have to get leaders to focus on the talents of the young generation. At least they grow up when they have got like some skills added on what they have got. For example, they can be good at drawing, they can be good at playing football, but you find a lot of clubs, they're really full of students from the Kigali or from the not from the village, because the village they're not really seen a lot compared to the students or the young generation in Kigali. So they have to focus also to the rural areas and also to encourage them. My point was to focus on the talents of the young generation in the rural areas. It will really help us a lot because we have got a lot of leaders there and we have got a lot of talents in there hidden in the rural areas. So they have to focus on that too. They support them with funds, they support them, and they put there the leaders to follow up with the people in the rural areas because I'm really sure they have got a lot of talents, but hidden there. They don't have where to show their talents. They have to be having clubs in there to actually encourage the young generation to start showing their talents. Yeah.
Yeah, before you answer the question she asked, I just have a few points to make. Like all of you have said, both skills and theory are important, as well as communication skills. So I think to add on that, I'm going to touch on the rural areas because I know we do forget that people in the rural areas as well need these communication skills. They need these people to tell them that you can do it. You can, you have this talent. So play with all your strength. Do it with all your strength. So I think what sometimes most of our big leaders do, they focus on urban areas where they think, okay, talent and opportunity is in the urban area, so why not uh, why not focus on urban areas, and rural areas will just be there, that they don't need much of help. But in fact, I do believe that they need most help when it comes to these skills in education for the future, because trust me, I know those guys are the ones who come out and become the big lawyers and become big footballers. It's just that they've been ignored and put in a box, like for them, we can just give them all the equipment they need and all the, yeah, we'll think about exactly, we'll get to it. But no, we need to everyone is equal, everyone deserves fair opportunities and fair education and all those things. So I think as well, I can just say that the higher people, our leaders, the government can embrace those people. Please, let's not hide them in the box and say we'll think about it and not act, because those people are very, very, very talented. They're very, very skilled, and we need them. Let's not just say because personally we have grown up in the city or whatever, those people are not important and they do not require to be helped. So that is my advice, I think, to the leaders of Africa, to the leaders, because this world is evolving day by day. AI has come up. We have children who are now able to express and say what they want. Like she said, by the time a child is 11 years old, you're able to see what what skill they have and what talent they have. So from 11 years of age, you can nurture a child if they're good at swimming, focus on that. It's okay. You can tell them, go to school, do this, but at the end of the day, what are you focusing on? What is that one special talent they have that you can work on it more than, education, or work on it more than the theory part, so that uh, just to help them be somewhere in the society. So I think we really, like she also said, we really need to, as youth, do something, communicate, and be the change. If you want to see change, we have to be the change first. Yeah.
Thank you. I think Sylvie made a very important topic when she talked about debates. Because okay, I'm not in any position to talk for the government. Like you said, I I should respond, but I think the government should respond to that. But I'll give you my experience. I was raised in a rural area as well, and up until I finished primary, and then I went into boarding school. I came from boarding, coming to Kigali to study from advanced level. I was I was not in boarding, but I was living around here. So when I went in boarding for the first time, I went to the minor seminary. So the way we're learning English, we're learning using debates. So every time the teacher came in the class, we should make two. We could make two parts of the class, like this part become the opposers, this part become the proposers all the time. And that's how we learned English. And I remember me at that time, whenever the teacher came in the class, I thought, I'm dying now. I'm going to die. What am I going to say? And sometimes I would even hide under the table to avoid speaking or even making a contact with the teacher. Better think that I'm not in the class than talk in front of people. And that happened a lot of times. And okay, I left the seminary later, but yeah, that was a very bad experience for me. And I learned something from it. And later, when I came here in university, I joined the English club, which is in RP, which was a very good. It's an affiliate of Toastmasters, and it was the best way to learn communication and public speaking, which is where I had been doing presentations in class, but that's when I started going in front of strangers and speaking, which I think is one of the things that made me who I am today, and that got me where I am today. Because if I didn't, then interviews I did, I would have failed, and the pitches I did, I would have failed, videos I made, I would have failed, all those things. I think communication is one of the important things, and one of the things we talked about was like someone might have hands-on skills, but you also have some hands-on skills, but they are better than you, but you are better at expressing it than them. So you know how to make a point because you have been in a debate. You know how to make a point, and you make yourself look better than them in front of the employer. And that person will not be hired, and you will be hired if the people are fair. You will be hired because they understand what you mean, but they don't understand that person because that person cannot express themselves. So I think debates are very important, and in some schools they have them, some they don't, but they are not compulsory. So you have to. It's willing. You are willing. And when I was in RP, now it's RP, it was IPRC Kigali. We used to go organize debate competitions, and we go in classes inviting classes to come and debate because it was interdepartment or interclass debates. And people sometimes we would not find even one person in a class of 50 people to come and stand for the class and debate, which was very disappointing, but also showed something very deep that people, and I like to tell people, everyone who was able to do a national examination and come into university know English because all exams are in English. But because they don't use it, they don't have confidence. And I like to tell that to people, but they don't understand that. So they think, what am I going to debate about? I have never done this. How can I do it? So I think communication is, It's very important. I'm going to give you a time. Yeah, yeah. That's why I said it's a very important topic for communication, because one thing that communication does to you is it makes you open-minded, and communication is not only about speaking or telling people something. It's also about listening. So you become a better listener, a better speaker, and people love to listen to you, and then you can become an influencer. You can do anything. So I think that there are so many things that the education can change, but that's one of the most important one, as you said. And debates would help, but to also it would be very hard to like. But maybe if we do it your way, the way they did it, forcing you to speak, it will be easy. But in government schools, I'm not sure if teachers care to that level. I'm not sure, but I know teachers are people who are doing a very good job, and most of them love it. But I'm not sure if they can go that extra mile and force students to do those kind of things, or if they really care to that level, or if they know it's needed because they have also been in that same program. So if no one maybe taught them in, if no one taught them in a different way, they don't know that other way to help a student. They know what they have been taught. So I think it's a very hard job for the government and for us, but if there is a way we can implement that way to force people to speak, to force them to join clubs, because clubs, you know, you have been students, even in O level, in boarding schools, when it's time for clubs, some students go and hide. They go and keep sleeping. They don't want to go out, and they will, because I studied in a Catholic schools. We used to have the how do they call them in English? Imiryango ya Gikristo, abasaveri, scouts, those kind of uh, communities. Yeah, and there are times when they come and they are singing, like dancing together, and then you find someone is hiding behind others. They don't want someone to pull them forward. And when that time comes, some students hide. I think it's first because they don't understand the role that it has in their future, and second because they don't have confidence in themselves. They don't understand. Okay, they don't understand that they also have something to tell the world, or something that they can say which is important. I think if they understand, like I always like to say how, I mean why. If someone understands why, then they are going to find how. So if they can be taught why they need that, then they're going to go willingly. Or if maybe there is another incentive, I don't know which one would be. What do a student want? What would make them do it willingly? I think if the incentive is found and implemented, it might also be another force that is pushing them to doing that thing.
To add on what you just said, it's something small. I usually tell people around me who are always like, how comes you're able to speak like that fluently? I'm like, man, it's just we ourselves also were not born knowing this language. It's our second language. It's not our mother tongue. So, and we all learn through making mistakes. You could just speak out whatever you have in your mind, however you feel like, and then because we were in communities where we you were forced to speak it. So I really thank my parents so much for really helping me get good education. So we were put in a place where it was a must to speak English, whether I like it or not. So you could speak it whether broken, however it is, whether they laugh at you or not, but at least you're not going to get that punishment for speaking a local language. So for us, we could look at it in a wrong way, like, oh, these people hate us. What are these people up to? But honestly speaking, here we are, and I believe many people whom I've studied with out there, they can tell how good this is helping them. So all I want to say is, we learn through mistakes. And most of us, we are afraid of making mistakes. Yeah, the consequences of making mistakes are also not good. They have their pains, but let's try and we learn from our mistakes. Yeah, say the broken English and then try to say it whether broken or what. The people around you, if you're lucky to have people around you who will tell you, it is supposed to be like this, it's not supposed to be like this. And if you don't say it, no one will ever know that you don't know it. But then if you say it wrong, that's how maybe you meet someone who's going to help you. Yeah, so it's always good to just express yourself, and then you never know, you could meet someone to help you to do better.
Thank you. Yeah, as she was saying that we have to overcome our fears, because many people are having a lot of fears to speak out where they feel like speaking inside them. You find people really being afraid of speaking English, French, because they know people around them will laugh at them. So we have to overcome that. And also, I would encourage all the schools, primary schools, high school, to put debates in schools, because you find some schools have debates like Anglophone schools, but you find some public schools when they don't have any debating club or anything. So it should be in many schools, in different schools in Rwanda. Yeah. Another thing I wanted to talk about is about drugs. We have found a lot of young generation, the youth, really focusing on that, taking a lot of drugs, drinking alcohol, and many don't even know how to control themselves, because they have took something that they really don't know, like when they don't have any information about the bad side effects about it or the good effects. They just jump into it because they have seen their colleagues taking it, but when they don't know where they are heading to. And that's one of the things that it's actually destroying the future of many young generation. So they, as I was encouraging um, people or the parents or the schools to put in more time of teaching their students about to their students or the children about to speak English or French or anything to express themselves in front of people. They should also start teaching their children or the students in schools about drugs, because drugs have took a lot of a big part, a very big part in destroying people's future. You find young generation dying at a young age because they took themselves into drugs, and they reach in a point on a point where they can't even stop that because they became addicted. It became like addictive to them, and they don't really know how to get out of that. So because they didn't get that information long time ago, or some courses about it, about bad things concerning to that, or the bad effects about the drugs, you find their lives full of depression, full of mental health. You find them like acting weird because they started that at a young age, but it's because they didn't give them time of teaching them about that. You find parents really scared or afraid of telling their children about adolescence age, about drugs, because they are afraid of them. But I think they should start teaching their children about the age of 11, about drugs, bad things about like the world we are in, bad things about social media, because I have seen social media is one of the big part that is actually destroying many people outside here. It contains a lot of information, it contains a lot of bad things. So they should focus on that really a lot, because drugs, social media, parents should focus on that, teaching their children. Like, for example, they start studying in primary school, for example, in P5, primary 5, P6, when they know at least few words about bad side effects of taking drugs. Yeah. So I think that's it that I can say for now. Let me give my colleague also time to say something.
Okay, by running to the end, is the question says, do we educate for surviving or just for fighting against ignorance? A lot of us here, we can answer probably we educate for surviving.
Yeah, that's how the world is set.
Yeah, nowadays, by depending on how what is developing fast and how people are being struggling, we are educating for surviving. By comparing, education for surviving is greater than education for fighting against ignorance. Really sure. And here we bring that topic in this way. Once we found that we are studying for we are getting education for surviving.
How?
How? In this way. Nowadays, from where we come from in the family, they pretending or expecting you to study and then forgetting a good health, being able to survive. They are not just thinking more than that, or going to say our child is going to study for just fighting against ignorance. That is not only the higher level of education they take, or also you think is for surviving, because you think that when you didn't get enough education as you want, you'll not be hired to the level you want to be hired.
Exactly.
That's the world we live in.
Okay, but you will find the professionals and the philosophies define education as the way of fighting against ignorance. Yeah, but today, our education is just driving in the way of surviving. Just which education? That's why we have the topic says just equip young people to be with the skills and for job of the future. Then we are dealing with education to survive.
But then,
Yeah.
if I may say something, I think if you're educated, you've already overcome ignorance. Whether you got the education for the sake of overcoming ignorance, or you got the education for the sake of surviving, either way, you've been able to handle the two. Because when you're educated, you're no longer ignorant. The knowledge you have, the skills you have, or the experience that you're going to get after that, or maybe during that, how can you say someone is ignorant but educated? Oh, yeah, sometimes it's possible. Wait a minute.
Sure.
Because sometimes you could be educated but not learned. Yes, you know all the theories you about what you were taught in school, but then when it comes to the moral part, oh my, you're not good, and that's not good at all. So it's always good to, yes, have the knowledge, but as well also on the moral part be good. So I believe that's a way of how we can be able to, I mean, we can have handled both the ignorance part and also the part of surviving, because
Yeah.
when you have the knowledge, then you'll be able to find a way on how to survive. You come up with great ideas, or maybe someone is going to employ you, you will earn money, and then yeah, you survive.
Okay, in the way also it seems to be this education we want to equip young people skills for job or about future is just going to bring this point says there is need we need participation of both even trainer and trainees, and also society. Once some we find that like a gap, there will be still some bad impact. But when those also participate fully, be available to participate both on the side of student, side of teacher, side of society, participate in that education, we feel we have to be encouraged in, will be the best way of that kind of education to equip everyone with the skills for job of future. And other, a part of good communication should be first be given to everyone. Even in a curriculum, I don't know, it depends on, but surely the lesson which should be taken on the higher credit should be communication. Just should be expecting, if you just know about the communication and you are not running well in those studies, but you are getting enough basic communication skills, there is a good probability of being able to survive. And apart of that, once you being kept highly with the communication skills, and also that hand-on skills practice you did, also there is a need of much and a stronger collaboration from the investors aside of what you studies at school and the investors around. We know those who study to become future engineers in a road construction, house, and other things to be constructed. There should be the affiliation with that companies, strongly affiliation with that their college and that companies, for just better expecting that good communication and hand-on skills are being provided, they are ready to direct communicating on that companies, because we now facing with the problem of someone who can know communication skills and even have hand-on skills, but to use for future or when it comes on the market, just try to being able to do other things outside of what he really study. And here becomes other point which says education, kind of education needed to equip those young people for future job should not depend on one career. There should be a strongly encouragement of just trying to be multitasker. I can say that, multi-worker. Yes, being able to be applied on softwares. If there is no chances or some work to be there, come in engineering, and even is not in, come on other side. Just that also kind of education which is going to participate in nowadays.
Uh, okay, I think on the topic you ended with, Christian, if someone becomes a multitasker, then okay, there is someone who said that if you are a master, the master of something like the master of four is a master of none, something like that. So if you try to go into everything, you're going to find that you're not mastering anything. And in the future, the people we need are not people. The future job market will not be for people who just know the basics, because the basics anyone can find them online. To be for people who can solve problems that machines cannot solve, problems that not anyone can find. So if you have that kind of skill that is extensive, so to the level where you can even solve bigger problems, then you're going to be having a praise, which is why I think problem solving in any career is very important, because if you can solve problems, if you come into engineering, if you come into business, if you come into anywhere, you're going always to find the time, which is, but what you say, I understand, someone must not be just, I know how to do this only, but also have other things they know, but have something they're master in. this is who I am. When we were in secondary school, they used to put the lock on our neck just to speak because we spoke in Rwanda. That was a very good thing that forced us to speak English, or even when we speak in Rwanda, we hide. But in 2020, I started a blog. It was a tech blog, and I was writing in Rwanda. And the reason I started it was I believed that even though we are forcing people to learn English or to speak foreign languages, but there are so many people who still haven't had that confidence, who haven't had uh, time to learn English, or who doesn't understand English. So I think it's important that even when teachers are teaching in classes, they don't focus on using the English only. They also, okay, we were talking about forcing people to speak English, but I think in order to make people who are smart or people who understand things, it's important that we explain them in a language they understand. Explain to them in a language they understand. If you are teaching people a very important topic, I think for them to become people who will be important in that topic, they have to understand it to a higher level, and they can do that if they understand. Not like when we used to be forced to speak only in English and we ended up just memorizing because we can't understand. So I think if there is another way of explaining to people, because since I started that blog, I've received so many people saying, you inspired me to start my career in tech, and now I'm a software engineer. Or I've done this because I read that blog in Rwanda and I understood what it is. Now I have followed it and now I'm doing this. So I think it's important that we explain to people, but also encourage them to learn that language, because as people say, English is a business language. And if you want to have part in the future, you have to learn it. But for now, if you are starting out, I think it's for you to understand why and for you to be inspired all the way. It's important that if someone is teaching you, they use the language you can understand, for you to understand the basics so that they can become your fundamental or foundation to the future we're going to be building. And also, maybe this is my last time speaking this. I want to say that I think if everything that we have talked about here are implemented, like we talked about so many things, if they're implemented, then the future, the gap between the job market and then the schools will be reducing a little. As like I said, things start with you, and if you solve your own problem, then you don't have any problem, and then you go to the problem of people around you, you solve them, then you go to the bigger society, and then you go to the country, and then to the world. So if we start one by one, we start solving our own problem, the other person solve their problem, then we start solving the problems of people around us, or the problem of the gap is solved between one by one, then we're going to find that the problem is going to be eradicated in some time.
The last should be also, once we are saying about strong communication, people may understand that just should be strongly knowing English, but really communication skills not depending on English. Even if you use Kinyarwanda, you are in a society using Kinyarwanda, a society using French or other language, just you required some communication skills, not depending only in English. That's the way we also impact positively.
Right.
He's right, but I also have to add on that. Kinyarwanda is our local language, but we also need languages to help us outside. We learn Kinyarwanda when we are born. You study it at home, they teach you Kinyarwanda. You reach in primary school, you study Kinyarwanda. You reach in high school, you're still speaking Kinyarwanda until you get old. But we have got other languages that are really helping us outside here a lot. Not just Kinyarwanda. Kinyarwanda is added in the languages that we are studying, yes, but you can't go in UK or China and use Kinyarwanda. Yeah, Kinyarwanda, okay, you can speak with the fellow Rwandese that are there. But you can go with your English, French outside there and you speak it. And you manage to get a job. You manage to go and get services in that country. So the reason why we are actually focusing on French, Kinyarwanda, and other foreign languages, it's because we're planning for the future. Like, for example, we are having goals for the future to be like worldwide, going outside the country, not focusing in just Rwanda. It's because we will travel, we will go to different countries where we'll need to speak their language. So Kinyarwanda is good, yes, but our parents are really teaching us that since the young age. And most of our parents really don't know how to speak those languages. So that's why we really need our schools to focus on also those foreign languages, to at least students to improve on how they speak those languages about like outside here. So I think that's my point, and we are closing up, but I would love to add on what we have talked about. It's a suggestion and an advice. We like when it comes to the decision of what the students have to do in schools, for example, to help them outside here to get jobs or to do in the future, it would be better if they let the student choose what they really like and where their passion is, instead of forcing them to go in a subject or to take a course they didn't want to study. So yeah, that goes to the fellow, to the parents, and also to the school members or the head teachers. Yeah, not to force the students to do what they don't want to do in school. You find them really completing their high schools and universities, but when they don't really want the course they took, which actually giving them that capability of not focusing on what they are studying in school because they put them in a course that they didn't want to do. Another thing is to focus on the physical things more than the theory, because you find people studying being a doctor or studying being a journalist when they don't have practicals for that. You find them getting outside, but when they don't even speak in front of people. They have been studying to be journalists. So we really need to focus on that too. Yeah, I think our message is given out. We'd love to hear if there is any good feedback about what we have spoken about. Yeah, I would love to say that be blessed, all of you. It was nice to be here.